Senator Casey called me an unpaid lobbyist.
Yeah, it seems like Senator Casey and the CEO of Boeing both are very, they really look to you and admire you for all that you've done.
I don't know about that, but when we were on that stem, it was the two with the CEO, David, I forget his name, from Boeing. They said, "May, stay on, don't hang up because we got a surprise for you." And that's when they told me that they're putting my bandana and the face mask on the Rosie, the Rocketeer, and it's going into the International Space Station. Oh, I was so thrilled. And he said, "We're going to give you a newly minted Boeing coin too."
And
what
that's
a thrill that
amazing.
was. I wasn't expecting it at all, you know. But
And
how could you do any better than that than to get one of our Rosie bandanas into space? I just think that's, isn't that amazing?
it's amazing. It's amazing that it would, the work that you're doing there that you just started doing by sewing, that it's ending up going into outer space. That's
You know, I do that. I've always sewed. I made bandanas. We spend a lot of time in Washington with the Air Force and all. I've been invited to Oklahoma City, Salt Lake City, place with the Air Force, places like that. And I said, it's just, I always took my bandanas and we'd sign them or just had fun with it. And of course, as soon as this virus hit, I switched right over to making masks. Well, I'd made about over 300. I send them out. I don't charge for them. I just make them to keep our legacy alive.
yes.
And I sent them to all the people that had helped us in years to get to where we were. And all of a sudden it went viral. And it's just absolutely amazing, the letters I'm getting. I get boxes of letters from all these people that have received their masks. And you know, the stories they tell me, I read every one, every email, every letter. And I said, the stories they tell me, some make me laugh, some make me cry. I said, it's just amazing. Just amazing.
It's amazing.
What an experience it's been for me.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And it's keeping you young.
I don't know about that. I'm not right now. I got up to 5,000 masks that we agreed to. You know, we'd had to stop there. 6 countries were asking us to. But every day I keep getting more and more requests. But I'm down to less than 300 now. And I said, oh boy, I'm really struggling to get this last 300 done.
Wow.
My granddaughter said I run out of adrenaline. I think she told me the story.
Yes.
But you know, you get to a stage where, boy, but I'll just keep packing away till we get there, and then I'll try to honor some of the others. I don't know how I'm going to do it because they've just been marvelous. They've been sending me all kinds of equipment and everything, paying for the material and the postage. And you know, we just got a great country out there. I just wish these radicals didn't get all the news, because this is our American people. All these letters I'm getting.
And that is just, again, our country just needs to see and experience the heart of America. You know,
that's true. And this is what I'm reading. This is what I'm getting. And it's not only the people that have experienced what I've experienced, it's their children, the history that they're leaving behind, the legacies. I'm getting so many nice letters. They tell me stories of their mothers, their fathers, and things like that. So important.
Now, one of your missions was to have a National Day of Recognition declared for the Rosies, and it finally came to fruition on March 21st, 2017, which was actually on your birthday.
Right.
Was that planned that way, or did it just happen?
Well, no, you know, when they called me and asked me to set what the date was, I remember I talked to different people, and I said, I'm not sure what date that we would want. I thought maybe with Norman Rockwell, when his poster came out, I thought maybe we'd use that date. But the way it turned out, the lady in California, somebody in California wanted that date. And I said, well, that's fine with me. They didn't know it was my birthday. It just came about by accident.
Wow.
And it was so amazing because when we went to Washington now, it was only me and another Rosie from West Virginia that showed up in Washington. Of course, nobody knew much about it because it wasn't publicized. But they gave us the Lincoln Room. Now, this is through Twilight Wish again, the Twilight Wish Foundation again. They're the ones that took me to Washington and set up to have the Lincoln Room and the Capitol building. And they let us have it for 2 hours. And all people we met, more senators and representatives from all different states. It was really amazing. And now our new congressman is the brother of Mike Fitzpatrick. This is Brian Fitzpatrick. Now he's our new congressman. He's a cupcake. And they all sang happy birthday. I don't know how many times that day they sang happy birthday to me. But it was so cute because that day, Jackie Spears is a wonderful congresswoman from California. She's just great. I was able to introduce Brian to her, and that's so funny that I'm introducing congressmen to each other. But it was amazing.
That is interesting. That you're introducing congressmen to each other.
Yeah, I kind of introduced her. She knew my Fitzpatrick, Brian's brother. She knew him well, but she'd never met Brian. I asked her if she'd ever met Brian. She said no. I said, well, wait. And I went and last I just talked. I started talking to other people. And last I seen them, they were talking a mile a minute. But this is kind of a nice. They get along real well. It's nice, and they both worked real hard for us to get us this gold medal.
Yes, absolutely. That's got to be exciting to see and to have met the people you've met. It helps them to connect with one another. And it stirs something up in them that they didn't even know was there.
Well, what's so nice is Brian is a Republican and Senator Casey's a Democrat, and of course Jackie Spears. You know, they all worked so hard for me, and they had such nice things to say. One of the nice things I like was Brian Fitzpatrick. I said the Daughters of American Revolution did a nice program in my front yard because we wouldn't come in the house. They had several chapters, and they had Senator Tomlinson and Tina Davis, our state representatives, and Brian. And after Brian spoke, he gave me a flag, and he said, "Mae, this flag flew over Washington, our Capitol building." He says, "And I helped fold it for you." And I just love that. And I just think these are special things that you get out of it. It isn't. Yeah. You're not doing it for anything particular than to honor the women, but the rewards I'm getting from it is just absolutely amazing.
It's just amazing. Mm-hmm. Now, you also worked diligently to get the Rosies the Congressional Medal of Honor, which we've talked about, which was finally passed last year in 2020. How did it feel to finally see that happen?
Well, I got when Senator Casey called me, he asked me just what you're saying, how does it feel, Mae? And like I said, I loved them. So this is what I worked for. But the journey there, the people that I've met along the way, it's absolutely fantastic. More like my stories about Brian and Jackie Spears, things like that. You can't buy that kind of book. And there's a Mandy Fuller. She's a lieutenant colonel, I think, in the Air Force. She's just come with me so many places in Washington, and just as good as their hearts. And they've had me to Pentagon. They give me a birthday party in the Pentagon for my 93rd birthday, and they've invited me now to the Pentagon 3 times. And never in my wildest dreams would I ever imagine that I would be in. And I met all the officers, the general of the Air Force, and the secretaries, both the secretaries of the Air Force, the new one and the old one.
It's amazing.
You never in your wildest dreams ever imagined that you do,
Yeah, yeah.
But you know what? They're just average people like you and I.
Yes.
They're just good. They're just been very successful. Here again, going back to work. There's no substitute for hard work.
Right. The background that I've already had with different people, I volunteer for an organization, Movie Guide, that promotes family and faith-based films. And my daughter that you saw, she and I go and volunteer once a year because he has his banquet here in Georgia, but he lives in California, and he always has a guest speaker. I've met Corbin Burnson, Kevin Sorbo, met Henry Winkler, and I don't, I don't, part of what I want to do going into this, and my TV program will also have to do with me connecting with legislators as well, because they are trying to help preserve this part of history. So I already know that there'll be 8 of them that I'll be connecting with. So I'm listening to what you're saying and I'm taking that in. But with people that I've already met that are popular, Corbin Burnson, he does a lot of faith and family friendly films. And from that night, some other of our friends that volunteer for that same event, they were working on a film project, and he has come alongside of them and helped them with it. And I see that he's also staying here in Georgia, helping other people, with what they're doing, very down to earth. And I love seeing that.
Well, they're genuine. That's why they're genuine people.
Yes.
I think that's so nice. I mean, like I said, I've met the highest and the lowest in the Air Force and what have you, but they're all just equally decent, good people. When I come away from a program with the Air Force, I come home, I just feel so good. I just feel so secure. It makes me feel, I look at all these young people and I think to myself, oh my gosh, our country's in good hands. It's so funny because they asked me to speak. My first symposium down in Florida was at Patrick's Air Force Base. And when I stood up there and looked at all of these officers and important people, I just didn't look at them. I said, none of you were even born yet when I was building these B-17s.
You guys were not around yet.
I know. And they were so much fun. They just treat me they're just great. And like
That's
I said, I
awesome.
love the Army and the Navy. I was just about to I've been with the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force. I was about to do a program with the Marines when this virus hit. So I haven't done something with the Marines yet.
Yeah.
But it's just so things, and I just get invited to the most beautiful things. I was supposed to be in Salt Lake City on the 30th of March for that weekend. But of course, I won't go now. I just turned down a couple more invites because I won't go out in public yet. I mean, I don't mean public. I mean, it's nice to have our shots and everything, but I still don't want to go in a crowd where we're with a lot of people.
During this commemorative event that took place in December, the president and CEO, his name was David Calhoun, joined the event. Please share with us why his dad would have been excited to meet you. His
Are
dad.
you sure he would be?
Well, in the article, it said that he had told you that his dad would have been excited to meet you because he jumped out of the Boeing planes.
Oh yeah, that was cute. That was the CEO of Boeing you're speaking of.
Yes.
Yeah, that was nice. That was cute. I've written to him now. You know, I don't know whether I said there's one last thing I'd like to do before I meet my maker, and that's to get a Rosie statue in the World War II Memorial in Washington. And they said to me, Mae, that's very difficult to do. And I said, well, it wasn't easy getting our first National Rosie Day or gold medal or our bandana in space. So let's try. Let's see what we can do.
Let's see what we can do.
And you know, we've got a program that the lady that's helping me, she's wonderful, Deb Bolton. She's she lives in Phoenixville, which is Valley Forge. She worked for Valley Forge Freedom Foundation for years. And she set up a program on a Rosie. And we got at least 6,000, I think 6,000 followers on there. They requested a face mask. And when we were very hard getting our last co-sponsors for the gold medal. To think that the Senate that was. We had the House, we got that a year ago. But finally we put on there, we started listing all of the ones that hadn't signed on. Well, all of these followers, they got on their senators or their representatives, and boy, it was no time at all. We had 73, we needed 60, and we were stopped right at 29. We just couldn't seem to get any more for a while. And boy, when they went after their senators and whatever, we got 73 in no time at all. And I think Senator Casey got a kick out of that because it was at a standstill. But if you got the people behind you, it's amazing.
Yes.
They wanted to see us get that medal too. And boy, they went to work on their senators or their representatives.
Yes. Senator Casey is a senator for what state?
Pennsylvania. Yeah, he's our senator. He's our senator. Yeah, he told me that before this came about, one of the people in his office had said to me, he's talking about, no, this was, it was not anything that was official, was kind of to get quiet. He's talking about the Congressional Gold Medal. Well, I'd never heard of it before.
Oh, but,
that was like a year or so before it was ever introduced. And so once he introduced it, it didn't pass the first year. You know, I think they allow 2 maybe a year. I'm not sure. And first of all, that was a good group of veterans that deserved it a lot more than we did. They've got it last year, but this year we finally got it. So it's nice.
It's amazing. I think it's just amazing because I've heard of that Congressional Medal of Honor before. I've heard of it and how it's not for everybody, and very few people get it. So when I read that you are able to do that for the Rosies, it is just amazing to me.
It's the highest civilian award that you can get. I think that's one of the things that makes it nice. So,
yes.
A lot of people refer to it as the Medal of Honor. It's not the Medal of Honor. That's for our fighting men who battled. This is a civilian award.
When you were talking about the public figures that you've met, which one do you have a special memory between, Nancy Pelosi, Senator John McCain? Sounds like Senator Casey is one, but which one is one of your favorites or you have a special memory of?
Oh, God, you couldn't pick one in particular because there's been so many.
Mhm.
Senator Casey and Brian Fitzpatrick there at the top, Jackie Spears, that's a Lieutenant General Mandy Fuller, she's of the Air Force. But one of my favorites is when I was down in Washington for our first National Rosie Riveter Day. It was such a nice day, but Tom McCain wasn't there, of course. But the next day I said, I want to meet Tom McCain before we leave. So we marched over to his office without a appointment or anything. And we walked in. I said, I'd like to see him. They said, do you have an appointment? And I said, no. And they said, well, he's pretty busy. And I said, well, tell him Rosie Riveter's in town for the our national day. Well, next thing you know, they escorted me right in his office. And we talked. Oh, he was so nice with us. And it was the nicest thing. We took pictures. And about 3 months after I was home, he sent me a picture of the two of us together. And on there he wrote, to Mae Krier, with admiration and appreciation. And I treasure that picture. I think he's a good, solid politician. He loved our country. I mean, yeah. I mean, he kind of straightened them out in Washington at the time. But no, there's so many. I can't just name just one or two. Like you said, General Goldfein. Oh, that was so funny. He's the general of the Air Force. I'd met him on a couple of different occasions, like at Andrews Air Force Base or when I was in Florida. Mm-hmm. And when they gave me the 93rd birthday party in the Pentagon, his wife, Dawn, had hosted it. And there was all, officers. We had lunch and what she said that she was sorry that the general wouldn't be able to come today because he had so many commitments. And they even baked me, one of the officers to bake me a cake. And we were all standing there talking while they were cutting the cake. And I turned around, here's General Goldfein standing behind me. I just turned around and hugged him. And I said, I'd never hugged a general before. And he said, I've never hugged a Rosie Riveter before either. I'm an impulsive person,
Oh, I think it's great.
But that was nice because he was special too. I mean, but I just can't even, I hope I'm not forgetting anybody because they've all been so special to me.
Oh, no, I'm enjoying listening to all of it. It's so awesome,
But, yeah, it's just, I mean, I could go on forever telling the stories that what I've experienced in the last 5 years. It's just absolutely amazing. It's amazing.
It's amazing. It really is. Now, you frequently give speeches and attend special events that honor Rosies. Please share with us some of these special events in your life.
Oh, there's been so many. I just can't even begin. When I was in Normandy, I met Major Holly at Ramshaw, and she's asked me when we came home, when I come to Oklahoma and speak at one of their symposiums. And that went on for quite a while, and I didn't, I thought, well, it was just, at the time, it was just talk. But it was, the next thing I know, she contacted me and invited me. And I went to Oklahoma City and just had the best time. That's through her, I was invited to Salt Lake City this course in March, but I wouldn't go. We did a video for them.
Right.
But at places like that, I've been invited to Florida so many times. In fact, this one group down in Tampa has invited me every December for the celebrate Pearl Harbor Day. And I just, different Air Forces, it's just amazing. Like I said, my head's so full, it's hard to pick one. There are places that are, some are so special. Oh, California, they just did the best thing on me on my 91st birthday. They're the ones now. Are you familiar with the park, the Trust out in California? They're the only National Rosie Park or place. They're national, and it's called a Trust. Well, they called me because of my, the gold medal, and they wanted to give me a birthday party, and they even had they took me and met Courtney here. They even had her. They sent her a thing where it says "Happy Birthday, 91st birthday, May," and they had a cake for me. She had arranged it here. But we just had the best time. They called a couple of times. So I mean, it's just one thing after another,
And when you're starting to do things and you're serving and you're, doing things for others, it's just the way it is. You meet people, there's experiences that you would have never, ever dreamed of that just start happening. Excuse me, we have thunder going on here. You also work with schools to help encourage students with their STEM programs. What do you usually say to them?
Well, first of all, I usually start talking to the young girls. It's a shame because the young boys need it too. Some of them need it. But I tell the girls, just because he's a boy or a man, don't think that they can do it better. I mean, if you have your mind and heart set on something, go for it, because, you know, you are the only one that stops it. Don't let somebody tell you, well, you're a girl, you can't do it because you're a girl.
Right.
And of course, again, I really stress, don't worry about if you make mistakes or if you're not as smart as some of the others, because it's slower. You maybe you learn slower. I know I'm a person I'm a hands-on person. I learn best by doing it, you know? So, I mean,
Right.
we each have a unique way of learning. And I
Mhm.
think that's so important for not to compare yourself to somebody else. Just set your sights on what you want to do and go for it.
Yeah.
And they probably get tired of hearing that. I don't know, but
No.
I think that's so true. And I said, like learning, it never should quit learning. Like when we were sitting here this morning, Courtney showed me was how to, I got all those letters from this base in Virginia, and I didn't know how to read when the kids had these codes on there. I read all
Mhm.
their letters, but I didn't know how to read the codes.
That's cool. That's
Uh,
cool that you learned that.
yeah.
Now, even now, as we are in the time of fighting the coronavirus, you continue to serve. You no longer are making planes, but please tell us what you're doing to help others now.
You mean with my face mask?
Yep.
Yes. Well, it was so funny because I got told saying that I made them just simply for all the people that helped me. I don't charge for them. I just, it's a way of keeping our Rosie legacy alive. And I just sent them these face masks and thank them for what they've done for us. They've help us to keep this legacy alive. And it went viral. And when it went viral, it just got crazy because we had to cut it off at 5,000 because, you know, how much sewing can I do? And 6 countries had asked us to for masks, but we turned that down right away. But I did get help for quite a while. Now it's slowed down, but I'm down to less than 300. So I think I can get there myself.
I think
I
you
know I'm
can.
slowing down. I'm slowing down, but you know,
Yeah.
I've always loved to sew. I've been a crafter, so it wasn't it was a job for me. It was a pleasure,
Yes.
and like I said, it's meant an awful lot to me and for me. You know, so,
Yes.
mm,
Absolutely. Now, after the Rosie Riveter Congressional Gold Medal Act was passed, David Calhoun, the CEO of Boeing, has helped come alongside of you with the Rosie face masks you and your friends are making. Please tell us what he's done to come alongside of you with helping you with the face mask.
oh,
David,
David was, yeah, he's the CEO of Boeing. We were on together with the STEM program here. There were several schools on with the Congressman as Congressman Fitzpatrick and Senator Casey. And that's when they told me stay on because the CEO had a message for me. Well, I didn't know it was going to be the CEO at the time, but when he came on, he told me that, you know, due to what I'm doing and with my face mask and all, and they're going to put it on there, Rosie the Rocketeer. It was funny. It's a mannequin. I don't know if you've seen pictures of it or not.
I would like to see a picture of. I was going to ask you about that if afterwards, if you could send me a picture of the Rosie the
Oh
Rocketeer,
yeah, it's a
I would love
mannequin.
to see it.
Yeah, it's on Facebook. I'll see if I can locate it and send it to you.
That would be
But
wonderful.
it's cute because of it's so funny because they called her Rosie the Rocketeer, and he told me that they're going to give me a newly minted Boeing coin, but I never received it. And
Mm.
now the lady that's working with Boeing is helping to send out some of these face masks, and she was talking to them. They said they're going. I'll get the coin after it goes up into space. When it comes back, then I'll get the coin. I said I can't imagine that. You know, but that'd be quite an honor.
Yes. Yes, and that leads into the next question is that he'll be launching a Rosie the Riveter rocketer during the CST 100 Starliner orbital flight test too. And that's what the Rosie the Riveter will be on um, during that flight. And so he's going to honor you with the Rosie the Riveter rocketeer, and the face mask will go up as well, and then those Boeing coins, right? The commemorative coins.
Right. He said
And
they're newly minted. I don't see. I don't know anything. I've got so many coins people have given me, like even Nancy Pelosi when we were in Normandy. I
mhm,
said, you know, you treasure General Goldfein, the secretaries of this Air Force. I've just got so many, and just regular young men. It's same way with the Iwo Jima on Medal of Honor winner. I've been on different programs, a couple different programs with him, But you know, you get it's such a beautiful honor when they give you their medal. You know,
Yes.
it's just special. I've got so many. I'm absolutely amazed.
Yes. How do you feel about that honor? It probably is just overwhelming, and sometimes you still take it in and like, I can't believe that all of this has happened.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, why me? How did I get? You know, how did I get this far with this thing? But but you know, it's a funny thing because when we were in Normandy, one man from England gave me his medal, and the man that was with him said, or a coin, it's a challenge coin. And the man that was with him said, I never got a challenge. I don't have a challenge coin for you, but here's a pence. He gave me a pence. And I put that
Oh,
in my cabinet with all my other medals. It was cute.
nice.
But that trip to Normandy was one of the most emotional trips. Just my husband and I traveled a lot. After our kids got graduated from college, we did a lot of traveling. But this trip to Normandy was such an emotional trip. So unbelievable. I mean, when we walked to the water to place a rose in the water, or, you know, to for the memory of the young men. When we turned back, that's a long beach. When we turned back and walked back on that beach, I don't think there's a dry eye among us because we realized the bodies and blood that we shed, and it was shed on that beach 75 years
Yes.
ago.
Yes. It's it just is something that speaks to you. It's resonates, and so much emotion, being there.
Oh, I thought, and somebody sent me a copy of it, and I just think it's just great. I mean, she was like 14 years old, I think, when she went to war. But see, we're from all over the country. We're just not from Pennsylvania or North Dakota or Minnesota. We're from everywhere.
Yes.
Well, you know, I've had when my story first came out in the early 2000, I was able to pick up 12 Rosies because see, I was not from this area, so I didn't know the local Rosies. So bit by bit, of course, several of them died right after that. Some went to nursing homes, but I was able to keep 7. And now, right now, last year we lost 4 more. And so
Mm.
we're down to just one other woman and myself of our group. I used to invite them to my house about at least twice a year. Just a social affair. And
Right.
we just had so much fun. And now we miss it because after after they died, their families tell me, you can't imagine how much that meant to my mother, because I would always get a historian and a newspaper and somebody different there, and so they could tell their stories, and they just loved telling their stories.
Mm.
So,
That's amazing. Now, they're going to be sending 101 of those commemorative coins in the cargo bay of that Starliner up into space.
I didn't know
Are they?
that. How did you
Yep,
get that information?
that was in one of the articles that they said that they were going to be sending some of the commemorative coins in outer space. I'll send it to you to
Oh, good.
see.
Yeah, because I hadn't heard that.
Yeah. Um, I thought that was really neat, but I'll send that to you.
Yeah, I'd
And
appreciate it because I get Deb, the lady from Phoenixville or Valley Forge. She gets hold of Boeing all the time. Boeing sends out all these masks for us. The last ones have been great.
mm,
And so she gets in some of the information for me. They'll, you know, check on it for her. But I didn't
okay.
know that. I finally had to ask about the coin, and they said it was going into space. So I didn't know that. Yeah.
They said it was 100 of them that'll be in the cargo
Is that
bay.
what it is? Okay,
Yes.
that's good to know.
Yes.
That's nice.
And I don't know, I guess that was going to be part of my question to you because I thought maybe you would know. But I don't know if they're going to keep it there, if they're just going to, like, it's going to go up in the rocket, if it's going to stay there, or if that's just
You
a
mean
part of their flight.
you mean the Rocketeer? I mean
Yeah.
well, I don't know either for sure, but somebody said they thought it was just going to come back. Now, whether it's going to be, maybe they'll keep it at Boeing someplace. I really don't know.
Mm.
I did
Just,
write to the CEO and thank him. And of course, I remarked about I want to try to get a Rosie statue in the World War II memorial. I thought that was a disgrace that they
yeah.
didn't honor the women in that war memorial. One little off an alcove there, one of the rangers heard me there, heard people talking to me one day when I was down there. And he took me by the arm and he just took me all over. He made me feel like a queen. He was introducing me to everybody and his brother. And then he took me and showed me where that, just off to the of the main farm of the, there's a little alcove and there's a plaque there showing. But if you didn't know what it was, I would walk past it, not even realizing what it was. But I think
Wow.
that's terrible. They've honored Kilroy now. I don't know if you ever heard that expression, Kilroy was here.
Yes.
Well, that was just, I think it was inspector at one of the plants, as far as I know. And it used to, that's how he'd sign where it inspected the rivets or something, Kilroy was here. But they
That
picked that up, and that was quite a motto or a saying during the war. But
I
these
was
guys,
gonna ask. Oh, go ahead.
he's in there at two different times. I said, he's in there, but Rosie is. Look at the thousands, millions of us, thousands of us went. You know, he's only one, and there's thousands of us women. We should have been honored before him.
But it's a part of the Veterans Project has certain questions. I come up with questions because of your story, but Kilroy that hasn't been a part of any of my other conversations yet. Explain to me again what Kilroy is.
Well, for as far as I know, you could probably bring it up on the computer and they tell you the story. But as far as I know, Kilroy was one of the inspectors. You know, every rivet we put in, we had to have it inspected. You know, that before we do. Otherwise, they'd make it take it out and put it in. And from what I gather, he'd inspect and say Kilroy was here, and wherever he inspected, or you know, just get his signature that he, you know, it passed inspection. Now that's what I heard. Now I don't know how much truth there is to it, but that was one saying that became very popular during the war.
Did you guys put Rosie the Riveter was here, or Rosie
no,
was here?
No. See, I don't even remember ever seeing Kilroy was here. It's just hearsay, you know.
Hearsay.
As you enter the museum, the World War II memorial, right on one of the walls, it's like engraved in, like, you know, they engraved tombstone. Well, it's engraved in that first as you enter the World War II memorial. And now I'm told it's someplace else too. I don't know where it is, but somebody told me it's in there twice. So, but that I haven't seen the second one. I did see the first one. But it seemed to me that if Kilroy was here, I know it was famous saying, but why couldn't they put Rosie, something decent in there for Rosie?
Exactly.
Now, I'd love to, I've got a picture of a statue. I've been on Harry Connick's show. Are you familiar with Harry Connick?
Yeah.
Well, I was on his show, and you know, he was the tail gunner in the Memphis Belle, the movie The Memphis Belle, because I had a lot of fun with him talking about the B-17s and all. And when we were there, we had the Rosie statue with us. They're built right here in Trenton, New Jersey. That's only a few miles from me. And I got all kinds of pictures that was taken together. But Harry Connick was really fun to be on with the show.
I bet.
Well, before I went on, I said to one of the girls, I'm nervous. She says, once you look into those baby blue eyes, you won't be nervous anymore. And you know, she was right.
You get caught up in those baby blue eyes, and then all that fear goes away.
It just made you so comfortable. You know, it's nice when you can be on shows like that and they make you comfortable.
Absolutely.
And of course, I was on with Andrea Mitchell too in Normandy. I was on with her. There were three of us on with her for a while in the American Cemetery. You know, I've been on people like that, but
yes,
like I said, they're just normal people. They got a job to do, and you're part of their story, you know? Yeah,
that's exactly it.
But when my mask went viral, oh my God, I had every station after me, which I sure kept Courtney busy because we had everything. We had a Como, it was CNN, a Como, ABC, CBS, and just everybody. Fox News was the only one that came to the house to do the interview from the house.
Oh, now how has your service during war affected your life?
I don't know. I really don't know. I'm just a very happy person, and I go through life. I guess this come what may. I mean, but this was so rewarding how this all came about. You know, I couldn't have asked for a better finish to my life. And you know, I said it's a whole lot better than sitting on that old rocking chair twiddling my thumbs. You know?
Yes. Now, what are some of the life lessons? I guess you've really talked a lot about some of these life lessons, but I guess taking away from your story, what are life lessons that you learned during that time?
Life lessons. Well, I don't know exactly life lessons, but I told you I was married and met my husband on the dance floor in 1944. Well, we were married almost 70 years before he passed away. But you know, the people ask me, what do you attribute to a long marriage? And I said, you know, respect. You know, we were different. I was raised in the West, he was raised in the East, but we give each other the right to be who we are. A lot of times they say, you know, sometimes he said, I always love you, but I don't always like you. And I said, guess what? I don't always like you either. I mean, that was a passing thing. Then I'd go in the kitchen and cook it supper like a good wife, you know. But we
Right?
were married almost 70 years. And as far as taken away from life, I just think I'm just very fortunate. I have two good children, 8 grandchildren, 4 grandchildren, 8 great grandchildren, and 3 great great grandchildren. So I mean, they never all turned out well. So I mean, you can't ask for more than that.
That's exactly right.
Mhm.
Now, how has your service impacted your feelings about war?
Is it ever going to end? I don't know. I think with Sarah Truman, it says we've won the war, but we haven't won the peace.
Right.
I don't see any end to it, and now it's scary because I was watching 60 Minutes last night with all these chips. I don't know if you watched that or not. How everything is run by these chips, and they even had, when they went into the factories, they were so covered with masks and clothes, everything. They couldn't even their faces were covered. It's so sophisticated and so delicate. That kind of scares you because everything is run by these chips. Just
Yeah.
imagine what could happen if, I don't even want to think about what could happen if they, it's not like back in our days, if we lost power, we were able to manage, but nowadays, if you lose power, you can't buy gas, can't buy food, everything's run by electricity and power. So it's something to think about, but I don't want to think about that because that scares you, and I
Yeah.
don't want to run scared.
No, I don't want to run scared either, but it's funny you mentioned that because that is something that I don't know. In an instant the other day, I don't know why I was thinking about it, but honestly, I think that there would be people there that would show other people how you could manage. And, people that have lived off the land, I know that we used to go camping a lot, and there's just so many different things you can do and become self-sufficient in, at least for a time frame. And
Yeah, but don't forget how many negative people are out there. They're want to steal what you worked so hard for. And
absolutely.
these guns, this scares me so with all these guns, with killing people. I mean, we
Yes.
grew up with guns. We grew up because during the Depression, wildlife was very important to our food. I mean, we didn't kill for the sake of killing. We killed for food to stay alive.
Right. There's a
So no,
difference.
yes, it's a big difference. And we didn't think anything of having a gun then because even when the young children were taught how to use them and were taught how to hunt, but it's a different way of life now.
It really is. Yes. And I have to tell you from experience, I lived out west in Texas on the border when I was just a teenager. And so much of the media talks about it now, but it's no different than what it was before. So our country has always had to deal with that type of struggle. And there are good people and bad people on the border,
Right.
and so
Well, my feeling of it is like, what? Who are we to judge? Texas, we took that territory away from the Mexicans,
exactly,
and I think look
exactly.
what we did to the Indians. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I've got Indians in my family, so I look at it both ways. And so, I was only mentioning that because we can be fearful about what we see in the media, or we can just know that, but to educate people and to embrace being able to help make a difference in whatever way that we feel led to do.
but don't you realize how few people will listen? How few people will listen?
Yeah.
Uh, I just think we've got to bring back decency. That's
Mm,
my thing. Respect. If you have respect and decency,
yes.
you don't have all these problems. I shouldn't say you don't. You're going to always have problems, but if you respect somebody or somebody, you ain't not gonna steal people's stuff if you respect them or if you've got decency and you're not a thief.
Right.
We never grew up that way, but nowadays it seems like so many people, they don't seem to care. They don't care about other, but they don't have no territorial rights. They don't care about other people's property. Well, look
Yeah.
at the people on the road. Look at the road rage today.
Yeah.
How sad.
And that's part of what that TV show again. I'm hoping that there's a unity and respect factor that possibly for some people that maybe it'll touch their hearts to be able to come back to that. That's the ultimate goal, is by preserving and people working together to be excited about seeing preservation be happening, starting to happen for this particular project, that it's something that they want to be a part of, that's something that they want to see, or in their own communities, bringing it to their own communities to be able to be on board to make a difference, you know?
Well, it's your young daughters and like Courtney, they're the ones that are going to have to make a difference.
Yes.
And it's not going to be easy, I'll tell you.
Could
Well,
you,
you know, back in our day, during the Depression and the Dust Bowl, and if a person didn't have a place to live, somebody took them in. If they didn't have enough to eat, somebody fed them. We looked out for each other. I mean, it was just a time when people cared about each other. I wonder now, what do they care about? And I thought, why would they go into our Capitol building, of all the places in the world, so to speak, to dishonor it that way? But the weapons and the flags, and I don't know, I just couldn't handle it. It made me very angry, I'll tell you.
right.
And this is where that word, I always said I hate the word hate.
Yes.
But boy, that sometimes it surfaces, I'll tell you.
It does, and I try to teach our kids. We talked about that with our production group the other day. It came up, the word hate, and how all of us that are on there, we don't use it, and we teach our kids to not use that word. Don't, because that's just as dirty as some of the dirty words that are out there. You know, it's definitely too strong, and it should not be used. You know.
But I'll tell you, this last administration, I've heard that word used a lot. And I said, I just don't do, like I said, I never would use that word, but I noticed that I have.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I've caught myself a few times. That Rosie statue that you're wanting to get made for in Washington D.C. to have it be in where at in the
World War II memorial. I don't want it stuck back in some place corner where you don't see it. I want it out in the main part, just like they honor every state. They've honored every state there, and other different things. I want it in a central location so people can see it when they come in. Now, that's not hard. This company here, right in Trenton, manufactures and makes all of these. It's a beautiful place it's Johnson's their name. And they make beautiful statues of all kinds, like Marilyn Monroe, Lincoln, everybody. And they make beautiful Rosie statues. I got pictures of myself with the Rosie statue that I had when we went on the show. I've been with it several times. And I was with it, had a picture taken in the Independence, Missouri, when we were at Lincoln's, Truman's library, and things like that. But I mean, as far as the statue, I think it's politics is what's going to keep us out. It's not that I don't think that they wouldn't want Rosie statue, but they said, like I said, they tell me it's so hard to do because I guess you have to deal with the Congress and Department of Interior. And
are you working on that?
Well, I've written to the congressmen and different ones. I put it out there to Rosie, and everybody says, well, wherever we can help, we will. Well, we got over 6,000 followers on there. Now, if we can find a way to get our foot in the door, I'm sure maybe we could, but I don't know. See, this is how we started at the beginning. I didn't know where I was going with it.
Yeah.
But somebody might, and somebody out there, and I've already wrote to Boeing and told them what I want. And I'm sure that if they found it worthwhile, they would come forward too, maybe.
But what is this organization? What is it called?
It's called Honor Rosie. And it's on Facebook. Yeah.
Okay, Honor Rosie.
And it's on Facebook. And now Deb Wilson is the one that set that up. A man in Washington, I forget what his title is down there. He helped her set that up for us. And that is great because this is how we got all of our requests for our face mask, and we had to close it. So if you find it's closed, wait, no, get back to me and I'll find which I think it's only closed for face requests for more face masks.
I think that I think that it's, I see it, and I see your pretty face on here. And
my pretty face.
Yes, your pretty face.
And you should see that's before and after. And I see it. I put my picture up when I was 17 when I went to work at Boeing. that was me.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, what message and life advice would you like to leave for future generations who will see this interview? What wisdom would you like to impart onto those generations?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. Wisdom. I go right back to those two words, respect and honor. I think that pretty much covers everything in your life. If you don't have to like it, but you have, like I said, you have to respect the people's right to be who they are. I mean,
Absolutely.
I think it's important. I mean, just because somebody's different than you doesn't mean that you're any better.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think we've got to find peace on earth now. Where do we, how do we go about it? I don't know. It seems like we're getting worse. And of
Mhm.
course, all this nuclear business, and we're going back to these chips like we we're talking about.
Yes.
It's a totally different world. I mean, you know,
Yes.
it's like I said, our way of life, it wasn't a simple way of life, but it wasn't as complicated either.
Right.
So, you
Doesn't
know,
have to be complicated, does it?
every generation has the different battles or different things to fight. I mean, I've watched the kids go up and, you know, different things, what's going to develop for them and all. It's amazing. And I just love how smart these kids are today.
Yes. I love to see the ones that are just inspired to have the go-getterness and within them, and just the amount of material that's put before them that they have the provision to be able to move forward faster. And
Uh-huh.
and it's like you said, it's within your own self if you do it, because these things can be set before you, but if you don't trust that inner voice, and
Well,
you don't have the,
yourself, yeah.
yeah, then you know that you can have all the access to all the different things, but you know, it has to come within, from within.
And
And
they got
I love
yeah,
seeing it when
they've got to build confidence in themselves. I mean, so many kids, especially teenagers, they're lacking in confidence, and they've got to
Mhm.
learn to build confidence, like themselves. I think they've got to learn to like themselves.
Yes, absolutely. Now, is there anything else people should know about you that we haven't covered?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I can't tell all my secrets.
I had a feeling you were going to
I
say that.
when people ask me about, you know, they want to know something about me, I said, well, go to YouTube or Google. I said, I didn't know that for a long time. I didn't know they're putting everything on Google that I was doing.
Mhm.
But I said, I have no secrets anymore. It's a good thing I live a decent life.
That's right. That's why we're supposed to live a good life and be good.
Yeah,
Now, was there anything I missed that I did not cover about your wonderful legacy?
not really. Just that I'm just going to keep doing what I can do as long as I live, which I, like I said to my children, don't cry over my life because I've had an outstanding life. Not riches, things like that, but things that make you happy is what your riches are in life. I
Yes.
mean, you know, if you're happy with yourself,
Yes.
I know there's a lot of things I would change about myself, but this is who I am, you know. As I've said that too, if you, this is, I had to turn down the program because I didn't like who they're having on. It would went against what I stood for. And I didn't say anything against the person, only that it goes against what I stand for. So thank you very much, but no, thank you.
I've
So I
done that
mean, you
too.
know, be true to yourself. I guess that's what it means. Be true to
Yes.
yourself. So,
Yes. I've done
but
that
no,
before too.
yeah, me too. Yeah, and it's a hard thing to do because you like the people that's invited you, and
Mhm.
it's a tack. You have to be pretty tactful when you get reviews, you know,
I'm
because
learning that part of it. I'm
uh,
working, and you know, for so long I homeschooled my kids, and I'm a writer and I'm an author, and I've done different things, but I don't have a lot of titles outside of being a homeschool mom and a writer. But starting to get into the film industry and doing it with everything I've done outside of it, I have the knowledge to do it, you know, and I'm
right,
in a group with people that they've known me for 5 years, so they know that I can. And these projects that I'm starting that I've talked to you about, I know that I can do it because I've had the foundation for it. But, you know, I think about that and I think so, some of our friends, they have titles, but again, we're not supposed to compare. But, you know, you have to have that belief within you, and you have to know that ultimately, you know, you're going to be able to help other people by doing what it is you're doing.
Yeah, how do you know it couldn't be done unless you try it, right? I
Right?
always think of my son, I'm an engineer I worked with all his life. We had a project and they said, but it couldn't be done. And my son did it, it turned out perfect, well, almost perfect. And the engineer says to me, you see that? He didn't know it couldn't be done.
Yeah.
And I think that's true.
When you know within yourself, when you know that you know that you know that there's something that what you're doing, even though people are saying it can't be done, or you might be crazy for thinking of that. But honestly, I've gotten to a point in my life that that's motivation for me to continue doing what I'm doing.
And one of the stories I used this when my kids were growing up. My kids are in their mid-70s now, and it's so funny because I always tell the story of the kids, the boys that wanted to build a tree house. Well, there was, back in our day, you couldn't find wood and things like that like you can today. But by the time they found the hammers, the nails, the wood, and figured out, then now they had the equipment, now they had to figure out how to engineer, how to do that, build that tree house. Well, now they got this tree house done, but it wasn't near as much fun playing in that tree house as it was building it and figuring out how to build it. I
Right.
think creating is one of the most rewarding things that you can do in your life.
Yes.
And with your mind, your hands, or what? Creating is the most important, but it's really valuable.
It's very valuable. It makes you happy.
It does, and what's more important than you being happy? I think
Absolutely.
if you're a happy person, the people around you are usually happy. They like that lightheartedness.
Yes, absolutely. And it's inspiring to other people as well.
Uh-huh.
Mhm. Thank you so much for your interview, and thank you for your time. And like I said, if you have any other Rosies that you know of, and they're willing to do an interview with me, please share my information with them.
I will. Yes, I will.
And thank you so much. And I hope that you have a blessed afternoon, and just good luck with getting that statue into the museum. That's
We'll
your
see.
next project.
I might not see it in my lifetime, but maybe somebody will hang in there and get it done.
Oh, well, I think, you know what, with your connections that you've already made, and I'll be praying on that honestly for you, but I think that these congressmen there might be someone that sticks to it and does that.
Well, that's what I said. They said, well, I forget what somebody said. Well, I said, how hard is it to put a statue bring a statue into the museum? I said, Miss Rosie
It's
can
not
screw
hard.
it
You
to the
make it, you
floor.
put
I
it.
said, we'll screw it to the floor.
That's all you do. You make it. The ladies, you guys could even weld it. You guys could even help it. You get somebody to make it, you put it there.
Yeah, but it's not that simple. Politics gets in the way. So
Every time.
yeah.
Every time. Well, thank you so much, and you have
You're
a
welcome.
great
Thank you.
afternoon.
And thank you, Courtney.
Thank you, Courtney.
You're welcome.
Have fun, you two.
You too. And you take care.